We're over to Mr. Danielson's turn to go first, I think. Oftentimes, minority religious or non-religious groups are not focused on when it comes to anti-bullying efforts. How would you work to include and put emphasis on these groups in anti-bullying efforts?
So here again, I think when you look at anti-bullying, civil rights laws, basically the code, we have an obligation to protect everybody. And the reason that those laws have to be carefully written is because they can be struck down if they don't meet the equal protection test. Okay, so in a legal sense, we should be very cautious about any exemptions. But from a moral sense, we should also consider that we have an obligation to protect every child in every setting. And we do know that bullying is sometimes focused on kids who are different, kids who are gay, kids who do not fit in, and we should make sure that they're protected in every setting, both public and religious settings as well.
Thank you. Mr. Kresser.
Kroger.
Kroger.
You got the K, which is close enough.
Well, you guys should stop moving around. Okay?
There,
Mr. Kroger.
again, I tend to have a tendency to come from 30,000 feet. I'm not there working on the legislation at this point. But there can be no religious exemption to a civil rights law. There can be no, to the theory of civil rights, there can be no religious exemption. It cannot be okay because my religion says that gay people are different or et cetera, and therefore opening the door for such things. I've seen the positive results of anti-bullying. I've also seen the negative side of bullying. I mentioned my son's friend was bullied and committed suicide. But I've got 5 kids, and I've seen what anti-bullying laws have done. They've actually created a structure of appropriate behavior and even understanding where they realize that we don't make fun of each other. We don't do that. It's working to some degree to have anti-bullying laws. But again, there is no blanket solution to say, no, Nick, you can't hit Bob anymore. There is no blanket solution. We always have to go deeper. What's happening at home? What's their financial situation? Is the child being bullied? Is the template by which they learn their behavior a bullying situation? Laws don't take care of it. It just creates the parameters by which we can now start to function so that we can look deeper. So I support anti-bullying laws. I do not believe there should be any religious exemption for this. But I also think, again, we have to look deeper. We can't say, okay, the job's done. You're not allowed to bully anymore. What are the financial situations? What's the social situation? What's happening again in the home? What is the template? It comes down to mental health and other issues. Are we funding the research and the hospitals and the programs to go into the home and to understand what the root problem is? Until we fix that, we will have this conversation for the next 50 years.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask for clarification on that? Is that okay?
It's up to you.
Is that okay? It wasn't about an exemption. It was actually about how do we incorporate minority religious groups. So if a school is 98% Christian, how do we focus on the Jewish children, the atheist children, the non-religious that don't call themselves atheists? How do we incorporate that into the discussion? Because as of right now, there's a lot of emphasis on LGBTQ, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But what about those situations where, you don't believe in God? What a weirdo. And then everyone goes, well, that's not the LGBT issue, so we don't talk about that. But it's still a bullying issue. That's what that was the more direct way of asking.
Again, if I may, just for a moment, these are deep issues. I don't think in a forum right now that I'm going to have a beautiful 2-minute answer for you. I don't. Because we're also talking about freedom of, there's First Amendment issues involved here too. And as Jeff said, once we're stepping into civil rights, there are lots of gray areas. There is no easy solution. This to me is you and me and others get together, teachers, religious groups, minorities, and bring up this question. Talk about what's really happening on the front lines.
As a parent, it just concerns me when I know that my children won't grow up in a religious household what happens when they get bullied for not believing in a God or not having gone to church and have no concept of it, and then get left out because of that, you know.
They're the politicians, they're the ones.
No,
who are
but
showing-
I get it, I get it.
Okay.
It's a deeper conversation I'd like to have.
Okay, I hope you guys aren't offended by having a little less time, they're getting more time than you, but
I'm
in a room full
fine.
of 10 people, we can be a
You wouldn't
little,
offend me at all.
we can be, okay. Move on to the next question.
All right, let's
You.
do it.
Whatever your name is.